Hey travelers, Mag and I here on day 328 of our trip around the United States. We've woken up to a gorgeous morning here in Eugene, Oregon, with beautiful blue skies and a fantastic forecast ahead of us. For today's route, we're going to be covering 290 miles, pretty much directly east through the state. From here in Eugene, we're going to pop in through Springfield for just a little bit, pass through the Mckenzie Gap, drop in and find the County Challenge Final, and then bring our day to an end just outside of Bend on the Oregon State Star. Now, the Oregon State Star is very unique as State Star goes because it is not comprised of mystery geocaches. It is built of traditional caches, all at posted coordinates. Now, for those of you in Florida, you know that that means a ton of bushwhacking and probably 2 days worth of adventuring. But in some of the more desert regions, that's actually very possible to do without it being crazy. The thing is though, even if we were to hike out for all those geocaches, that's a minimum of 5 miles around for us, and probably quite a bit more. We're not gonna be doing that, that's way too much. So if we have time at the end of our day, we may drop in and do a handful of the geocaches in the Oregon State Star, but we definitely won't be completing that geoart. Our goal for today is just to make it through the end of our route, find some of those geocaches to wrap things up, and then get staged and ready for the day ahead tomorrow. I'm looking forward to what today has in store because this beautiful weather promises it's going to be a fantastic day. So let's get out there, hit the road, and see what it has in store for us. Come on, let's go. We begin our morning in Eugene atop of Skinner Butte, overlooking the city and the Williamette River below us. This prominent local landmark is named in honor of the city's founder, Eugene Skinner. We hike out to the end of the trail on this hilltop in pursuit of an earth cache, only to discover when we arrive at the posted coordinates that there's nothing there to be seen at all. As it turns out, the basalt columns we came here to see are easily accessible by car, nowhere near the posted coordinates. From the top of the butte, we drop down into the city of Eugene, the county seat of Lane County, and the second most populated city in the state, with about 177,000 people living here. While the Native American tribes residing in the region may have been here as long as 10,000 years ago, the European fur traders didn't arrive on site until the early 1800s. Eugene Skinner arrived with the first settlers in 1846 to what was then called Skinner's Mud Hole. Just outside of the downtown area, we complete a virtual at Hayward Field and then take a short walk down the street on the University of Oregon campus to visit an earth cache at the Museum of Natural and Cultural History. The beginnings of this museum can be traced all the way back to the founding of the university itself in 1876. State geologist Thomas Condon, one of the first 3 professors hired at the university, brought with him an extensive fossil collection. When the State Museum of Anthropology and Natural History was created in 1935, the Condon fossil collection was immediately rolled into it. Now the museum welcomes up to 30,000 visitors each year. Just a few minutes beyond the city, we find ourselves back in the Williamette National Forest, tracking down some more geocaches along our route. After our completely unnecessary hike along the trails on Skinner Butte this morning, Ai-Chun was a little bit hesitant to go hiking back out in the forest with me again, but I was able to talk her into it, and together, we sniffed several geocaches out of hiding in no time at all.
The Oregon County Challenge Final. That just means we have in front of us a couple of counties, a handful of pages, and Oregon is officially done, with California being the only thing standing between us and completion of this goal we've been working for almost all year now.
Through the National Forest, we follow Oregon Route 126 on a steady trajectory east toward our next objective. The road winds along next to the Mckenzie River, occasionally passing through a small town like Nimrod with a population of about 200 people. It only takes a few eye blinks before you reach the end of town and are quickly passing into the forest again. Seeing the sign for Mckenzie Bridge gives us a bit of deja vu, because before we know it, we are once again traveling right back into the forest. It's right about here where our route for the day begins to become complicated. The next page targets that we have here in the Cascade Range are just on the other side of Mckenzie Pass, climbing at over 5,000 feet.
I was hoping to be here in a time that we could get over Mckenzie Pass to be able to get where we wanted to be today. That is not the case. So we have to come all the way around Mount Washington and come up from the other side to get to where we want to be.
Mom provides an assist from Florida, sending us the edge of the page boundaries so we can know exactly what we're working with out here. Of course, there's no such thing as idle time for me. So, while I'm in the midst of trying to figure it out, I find a series of challenge geocaches that we decide to pursue. For the most part, I tend to ignore mystery icons altogether, as I am not much of a puzzle solver. Challenge caches are the one exception to that rule, as I love the way they encourage geocachers to get out there and do things just a little bit differently. Each of these challenge finals, hidden in a rather consistent style, are focused on traveling around the country and the world. They require geocachers to travel far and wide, locating different icons in other states, counties, and even other countries, which is exactly what we love to do. Armed with some critical information provided by Mom, we head back into the Cascades toward Mckenzie Pass, this time making our approach from the east side out of Sisters. Knowing that the pass itself is closed, I'm not hopeful that we'll make it all the way up to the observatory, but I'm willing to give it a try just the same. We trek back toward the pass on Mckenzie Highway, with Mount Washington looming in front of us in the distance. The road is free and clear, and at just a few miles out, I begin to think for just a moment that we might actually make it.
Well, it doesn't look like the approach from the other side is going to do any better for us. We are about 3 miles out from the observatory, and this is definitely as far as we're going to make it. So we grabbed the cache on the west side of the page as far as we could before the road closes, and we're grabbing the cache on the east side of the page as far as we can before the road closes. One way or the other, we're bound to hit it having grabbed both sides of it.
I had thought this would be the worst of our problems reaching our targets for the day, but as it turns out, that was only the beginning. Next, we head out toward the desert, making our way toward the Oregon State Star on some lonely, dusty, unpaved roads with open range and cattle in every direction. Anticipating that there would be no signal out here whatsoever, I had the route pulled up on my GPS well before we got out here, only to discover that it tried to take me down a road that didn't exist. With little more than grainy satellite imagery to go by, I do my best to pick a path that will lead us to our objective, finding ourselves going down a rabbit hole leading into Deschutes National Forest. After a while, I came to the conclusion that there was not a single road out here in the National Forest that would lead us to where we wanted to be, so we made the best of it and decided to pursue a few geocaches while we're here. After all the driving, twisting, turning, and rerouting over the last few hours, I-chan was more than happy to be able to hop out of the car at each of the ground zeros and help me hunt for the treasure. Together, we began to pick a path that led us back out of the forest, stopping for any geocaches that came just a little bit too close to our route. She seemed more than content just to follow behind me and enjoy the smells while I followed the little green box on my map, as that is the only information I had. And that was all the information that I would need, as each time we stopped, we were able to successfully uncover another find. After more than an hour of wandering through the National Forest, we finally found our way back out and a road that headed straight to where we wanted to be. Finally! At this point, the sun was already beginning its descent into the horizon, but with the need driving me on to make at least one find in the page, we continued toward the geoart that we set out for. We hit that one find at the intersection, branching off to several geoarts out here before we discovered a very rocky part of the road. Together, I-chan and I walk it off, assessing the condition and making the decision whether we're going to take it on or not. This far out though, and with no signal, I decide that continuing forward just isn't worth it.
What do you guys think? Would you go ahead and take your car across this? I just don't think that's a good idea at all.
And so back around we go, bumping our way along the dusty dirt roads, through the open ranges, into the setting sun, with another day out here in Oregon quickly coming to an end.
Okay, that's gonna do it for the day. We thought we were gonna get out here and do the Oregon State Star, and we got pretty close. We're less than a mile away from the first caches we can get to in the series. However, this right here is supposed to be our road. And with as much difficulty as we've had getting this far, I'm gonna take the sign that if we try and take this, we're gonna pop a tire. I just don't feel like doing it tonight. That's okay, because at the crossroads just down the way, we were able to securely get this page that we've been driving through for the better part of an hour now, and add that to the map, get ready to close our night. We began our morning in Eugene, and from there, we've been working our way east pretty much all day long. Like the issues we had here, once we got to Mckenzie Gap, that's where the trouble started. We couldn't get through there. Those roads are closed until well into June, and we're ahead of our timeline. So instead, we had to come completely around and then dip back in. From the other side,
The roads were still closed, but we were at least able to get far enough in that it didn't really make a difference for us. From there, it's just been a casual day of driving, occasionally finding a geocache, and what I was hoping would be a hike out here with Aichan ended up just being a walk up and down the road for a little bit of exercise. That's good enough. We're going to go get some rest. Thank you guys for joining us as we made our way through this portion of Oregon. Like this video, subscribe, stay tuned for updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.